The gun pressed against Amara's spine as the SUV climbed higher into the Korean mountains, each turn taking her further from everything she knew. 3 days ago, she was a respected architect in Atlanta. Now she was being delivered to Jwan Park, the youngest and most ruthless crime lord in South Korea, a man who'd made it clear that refusing his offer wasn't an option. What she didn't know is that agreeing to his deal would mean more than just designing a building. It would mean becoming his most dangerous obsession. Welcome to Afro K-Drama. Like, share, and subscribe for more. The rain hammered against the tinted windows of the black SUV as it wound through the mountains outside Seoul. Amara Williams pressed her palms against the leather seat, trying to steady her breathing. 3 days ago, she'd been reviewing blueprints in her Atlanta office. Now she was being driven to a compound owned by one of South Korea's most dangerous men. Her father's voice echoed in her mind from their last phone call. "Do whatever it takes to get this contract, Amara. The firm is drowning. This is our only lifeline." She hadn't known then that the client was Jwan Park. Not a legitimate businessman as the documents suggested, but the youngest head of the Biko clan. A man whose empire was built on shadows and blood. The SUV stopped before massive iron gates. Guards appeared, weapons visible beneath their jackets. One approached her window, and she forced herself not to flinch. "Miss Williams." "Yes. Mr. Park is expecting you." The gates opened, revealing a sprawling estate that looked more like a fortress. Traditional Korean architecture merged with modern security. Beautiful and terrifying. Inside, a woman in an impeccable suit led her through hallways lined with art worth millions. Amara's architect's eye cataloged everything. The structural integrity, the escape routes, the way every corner could hide a threat. They stopped before double doors carved from dark wood. "Wait here." Amara smoothed her navy dress, grateful she'd chosen something professional despite her trembling hands. The doors opened. The office was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked mountains shrouded in mist. But she barely noticed the view because he was there, standing with his back to her, perfectly still. "Miss Williams." His voice was deep, controlled. He turned. Amara's breath caught. Jwan Park was younger than she'd expected, maybe early 30s. Sharp features that could have been carved from stone. Dark eyes that seemed to see straight through her. He wore an all-black suit that probably cost more than her car, and when he moved, there was a predator's grace to it. "Mr. Park." She extended her hand, proud when it didn't shake. He crossed the room in 3 strides. His hand engulfed hers, warm and calloused in ways that surprised her. He held on a moment too long, studying her face with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "You're not what I expected." "Neither are you." The words escaped before she could stop them. His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Sit." It wasn't a request. Amara sat in the chair across from his desk, pulling out her tablet. "I have preliminary designs for the cultural center. If we could discuss your vision." "My vision." He didn't sit, instead moving to pour amber liquid into 2 glasses. "Is for a building that looks legitimate while serving purposes your father's firm need never know about." Her blood ran cold. "I don't understand." "Don't you?" He set a glass before her. "Your firm is 3 months from bankruptcy. Your father owes money to people who don't accept late payments. I'm offering him a way out. By using our reputation to build something illegal. By giving you a contract worth $20 million. He finally sat, his gaze never leaving hers. "The building will be exactly what the permits say. A cultural center. Community space. Art galleries. But the basement levels will have modifications your blueprints won't show." "I can't do that." "You can. You will." He leaned back. "Or your father loses everything. His firm. His home. Possibly his life, depending on who comes collecting first." The room tilted. "You're blackmailing me." "I'm offering you a choice. Build what I need, and your father's debts disappear. His firm survives. You go home in 6 months with enough money to expand internationally." He sipped his drink. "Refuse, and I walk away. but others won't be so generous. Amara's hands clenched in her lap. Why me? There are architects in Korea who would do this without questions. Because you're American. Your firm's reputation is spotless. No one will look twice at a project you design. His eyes darkened. And because I wanted to see if you'd be brave enough to say no. I am saying no. Not convincingly. He stood, moving around the desk with that unsettling grace. You're weighing options. Calculating risks. That tells me you're considering it. He was too close now. She could smell his cologne, something expensive and dangerous. I need time. You have 3 days. My men will take you to the guest house. You'll stay on the estate until you decide. He reached out, and she froze as his fingers brushed her jaw. Don't try to leave, Amara. The mountains are unforgiving, and my guards are efficient. She jerked away from his touch, heart hammering. You're keeping me prisoner? I'm keeping you safe while you think. His hand dropped. There are people who would hurt you to get to me. Here, no one can touch you. Except you. Something flickered in his expression. I don't hurt women. I don't need to. The arrogance should have infuriated her. Instead, it sent heat crawling up her spine. 3 days, she whispered. 3 days. The guest house was smaller than the main building, but no less luxurious. Traditional Korean design with modern amenities. A bedroom with silk sheets. A bathroom with a soaking tub. And bars on the windows hidden behind decorative screens. A prison in paradise. Amara spent the first night pacing, her mind racing. She could refuse. Let her father face the consequences of his own mistakes. But he was her father. The man who'd raised her alone after her mother died. Who'd supported her dreams even when money was tight. Could she really let him lose everything? The next morning, a knock on the door announced breakfast. The same woman from yesterday entered with a tray. Mr. Park requests your presence for lunch. Tell Mr. Park I'm not interested. The woman's expression didn't change. It wasn't a request, Miss Williams. Amara bit back a sharp reply. Fighting the staff wouldn't help. She found him in a private garden, surrounded by cherry trees just beginning to bloom. He sat at a low table, documents spread before him. You look rested, he said without looking up. I look like someone being held against her will. Now he looked at her and again that almost smile. Sit. Eat. We have things to discuss. The food was incredible. Traditional Korean dishes she'd never tried. But her stomach was too twisted to appreciate it. What did you want to discuss? He pushed a folder toward her. The real plans. What I actually need built. Against her better judgment, she opened it. The designs were clever. Hidden rooms accessible through false walls. Ventilation systems that could filter air during lockdowns. Storage spaces that wouldn't show up on any official blueprint. This is for moving cargo, she said quietly. Among other things. Illegal cargo. Does it matter what I move if your father survives? She looked up, finding him watching her with those unreadable dark eyes. It should matter to you that you're asking me to compromise everything I believe in. Beliefs are luxuries, Amara. He leaned forward. I stopped believing in anything except survival a long time ago. You'll learn. I'm not like you. Not yet. His voice dropped. But 3 days in my world might change that. She should have been terrified. Instead, she felt something else. Something dangerous. Show me the property, she heard herself say. If I'm designing this nightmare, I need to see the site. His eyes gleamed with approval that made her chest tight. Tomorrow. First light. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw his face. The sharp angles. The cold beauty of a man who'd built his empire on violence. She shouldn't be attracted to him. It was wrong on every level. But when he touched her jaw, she'd wanted him to do it again. Morning came too fast. She dressed in practical clothes, pulling her hair into a ponytail. When she emerged, he was waiting beside a different vehicle. Jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off a body she absolutely should not be noticing. Ready? No. Yes. The drive took 20 minutes. The property sat in a valley between mountains, currently just cleared land. But she could see the potential. the way the space flowed, how the building could integrate with the landscape. Her architect's mind began working despite everything. They walked the perimeter, and she made notes on her tablet, asking questions about load-bearing requirements and access points, forgetting for moments that this was wrong. "You're good at this," he said, watching her measure distances. "It's what I do." "No." He moved closer. "You love it. I can see it in your face when you look at the space. The way you touch the earth like you're already building." She turned to find him right behind her. "Too close. Don't do that." "What?" "Act like you see me. Like I'm more than a tool you're using." His jaw tightened. "Maybe you're both. That's worse." "I know." He stepped back, and she hated that she felt the loss of his proximity. "Come on. There's something else you should see." He led her to the far edge of the property where a small stream cut through rocks. Cherry blossoms drifted on the water, and despite everything, it was beautiful. "This is where the main entrance will be," she said. "The building should frame this view." Agreed. They stood in silence, and Amara felt the weight of her decision pressing down. She could do this. Design something beautiful that hid something ugly. Save her father and compromise her soul. Or refuse and watch everything burn. "Why did you really choose my firm?" she asked quietly. The truth this time. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. "Then, because I saw your work. A community center in Atlanta that brought people together. Different cultures. Different backgrounds. You created something meaningful." He looked at her. "I wanted to see if you could create something beautiful even knowing what it would hide." "That's cruel." "Yes." No apology in his voice. But honest. She should hate him. Instead, she was trying to understand him. "Tell me something true about yourself," she said. "Something real." "Why?" "Because if I'm going to destroy my integrity for you, I deserve to know who you really are." His expression shuddered. "I became what I am because it was survive or die. My father built this empire, and when he was killed, I had two choices. Take over or watch everything fall to people worse than him." His voice was flat. "I chose survival. I choose it every day. Do you ever regret it?" "Every moment." The rawness in those words shocked her. "But regret is another luxury I can't afford." Without thinking, she reached out, her fingers brushing his hand. He went utterly still, staring at where they touched like she'd burned him. "Amara." Her name was a warning. She pulled back quickly. "Sorry. I just..." "Don't apologize for being human. It's rare in my world." He turned away. "We should go back." The drive was silent. But something had shifted. Some invisible line had been crossed. That evening, she found him in his office, staring at his computer with an intensity that made her hesitate in the doorway. "What?" he said without looking up. "I've decided." Now he looked at her, and the naked hope in his eyes stole her breath. "I'll do it," she said. "But I have conditions." He stood slowly. "Name them." "No one gets hurt because of this building. Whatever you use it for, it doesn't enable violence against innocent people." "Agreed." "And when this is over, you leave my father alone. Permanently. No more deaths. No more favors. We're done." His jaw clenched. "And you? Will you be done with me too?" The question caught her off guard. "That's not relevant." "It is to me." He moved around the desk. "I want another condition. You stay here. Work from the estate. I'll provide everything you need." "Why?" "Because I don't trust you not to run." The lie was obvious. "And because I want you close." Her pulse jumped. "That's a bad idea." "Probably." He was close enough now that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. "But I'm not a good man, Amara. Surely you've realized that by now." "I'm realizing a lot of things." Her voice came out breathier than intended. "Most of them I shouldn't be feeling." His hand rose, fingers hovering near her face, but not touching. "Tell me to stop." "Stop what?" "You're not doing anything." "Not yet." His thumb brushed her cheekbone, and electricity shot through her. "But I want to. I've wanted to since you walked into my office and looked at me like I was a problem to solve instead of a monster to fear." She should step back. Should remember who he was. what he was. Instead, she swayed closer. This is insane. Yes. His other hand cupped her jaw, tilting her face up. For a moment, they just breathed the same air. Then something crashed in the hallway outside, making them both jump apart. The door burst open. A man in tactical gear spoke rapid Korean. Juan's entire demeanor changed, going from heated to lethal in a heartbeat. "Stay here," he ordered, already moving. "What's happening?" "Rival clan. They know you're here." His eyes were chips of ice. "They're going to try to take you." Terror flooded her system. "What?" "My room. Now." He grabbed her arm, pulling her through a hidden door she hadn't noticed. A short hallway led to his private quarters. He pushed her inside. "Lock this behind me. Don't open it for anyone but me." "Juan." She caught his arm. "Don't do anything stupid." Something softened in his face. "Worried about me? I just agreed to sell my soul for you. I'd prefer you stay alive to appreciate it." He smiled then, real and devastating. His hand cupped her face, thumb stroking her cheek. "I'll come back. I promise." Then he was gone, and she was alone with the sound of her hammering heart. Gunfire erupted outside. Shouts in Korean. Breaking glass. Amara paced the room, flinching at every sound. Minutes felt like hours. Finally silence. Then a knock. "Amara." "It's me." She wrenched open the door. Juan stood there, blood on his shirt but apparently uninjured. Without thinking, she threw her arms around him. "You're okay." He went rigid, then his arms came around her, crushing her against him. "I'm okay." She pulled back, hands running over his chest, his arms, checking for wounds. "This blood. Not mine." He caught her hands, stilling their frantic movement. "Amara, look at me." She did. His eyes were wild with something fierce and possessive. "I killed 3 men tonight. Sent 5 more to the hospital. I am exactly what you feared I was." His grip tightened. "And I'd do it again. I'd do worse. Because they tried to touch what's mine." She should be horrified. Should be running. Instead, she kissed him. It was impulsive and desperate and wrong. But his lips were warm and he tasted like danger and something darker. His hands tangled in her hair, angling her head to deepen the kiss. She pressed closer, needing to feel his heartbeat, to confirm he was alive. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, reality crashed back. "I shouldn't have done that," she whispered. "But you did." His forehead pressed against hers. "Why?" "I don't know." Adrenaline. Relief. Temporary insanity. She tried to step back, but he held her close. "You're a criminal, Juan. You hurt people. This can't happen. Tell me you didn't feel that. Tell me you don't want more." She couldn't. "It doesn't matter what I want. It matters to me." His voice was raw. "For the first time in 10 years, something matters beyond survival. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair." He released her slowly. "But I'm not sorry I kissed you. I'm not sorry you're here, even if you hate me for it." "I don't hate you." The admission hurt. "I wish I did. It would be easier." "Easier isn't always better." She laughed shakily. Said the man holding me hostage. "You're not a hostage anymore. You can leave. I'll have my driver take you to the airport. Your father's debts will be forgiven." His eyes burned into hers. "But if you stay, it's because you choose to. No more excuses." It was a test. A trap. An escape route she should take. "I need to think." "You have until morning." He stepped back, and the loss of his warmth was physical. "Choose carefully, Amara. Because if you stay, I won't let you go easily. And I suspect you won't want me to." After he left, she sank onto his bed, touching her lips. They still tingled from his kiss. She was falling for a man who lived in darkness, who killed without hesitation, who'd threatened her into compliance and held her against her will. But she'd also seen the loneliness in his eyes, the way he'd promised to keep her safe, the raw honesty when he'd admitted regretting his choices. Dawn found her standing at his office door. He was at his desk, looking like he hadn't slept. When he saw her, He stood slowly. Your decision? I'll stay, she said. But not because of the contract or my father's debts. His eyes flared. Then why? Because I see you, Juan Park. The man under the monster. And I think maybe you need someone to build something beautiful in your world. She stepped closer. Even if that something is just a building. Or maybe something more. He crossed to her in 2 strides, hands framing her face. You're going to ruin me. Probably. She smiled. But you'll ruin me right back. So I guess we're even. This time when he kissed her, it wasn't desperate. It was a promise. Dark and dangerous, and everything she shouldn't want but couldn't resist. Outside, the sun rose over mountains that had witnessed violence in the night. Inside, an architect who valued integrity learned that sometimes the strongest foundations were built in the spaces between right and wrong. And a man who'd forgotten what warmth felt like discovered that some prisons were worth staying in, especially when they were built by the only woman brave enough to see past his carefully constructed walls.